Hey folks, the last Final Destination video is still in production, but I wanted to do something, of course, for my favorite holiday of the year. And I haven't done an art video in a while, so I found a piece from 2021 that was very unfinished and I decided to finish it, since it is Halloween. It's the perfect segue to our topic of today. 1982's John Carpenter's The Thing. Hands down my all-time favorite horror movie. So I'm gonna talk about it while I finish my art piece. Oh, and I am gonna go very in depth with this movie, so you might wanna buckle up. Inspired by the 1938 novel Who Goes There and a remake of the 1951's The Thing from Another World, the 1982's The Thing tells the story of an American research group settled in Antarctica. One day they get an unpleasant visit by two people from the Norwegian camp nearby, who try to shoot a fleeing husky by helicopter. The husky makes it to the Americans, and due to a language barrier they can't figure out what is driving the Norwegians crazy and why they are shooting this dog. One of the Norwegians accidentally blows up himself and the helicopter, while the other is shot by Gary, the station commander, out of self-defense. Bewildered by all of this, the Americans take in the dog, and the helicopter pilot McCready and physician Dr. Copper leave to investigate the Norwegian base to find what the heck is going on up there. The site is in a destroyed state and they find a strange carcass dead in the snow and they take it with them. Their biologist Blair performs an autopsy and is surprised to find normal human organs in what seems to be a very malformed humanoid with two faces fused together. Clark, the one in charge of the sled dogs, takes the Norwegian dog to the kennel. This reveals to be a terrible mistake, as the dog suddenly breaks form and starts to attack the other dogs. Clark responds to the panic barking and discovers a disgusting, unrecognizable creature. He gets the rest over there and they burn it. Blair gives this creature an autopsy as well and comes to the frightening conclusion that they are dealing with a shapeshifter, a creature that imitates other life forms to a T by assimilating the original organism, cell by cell. So yeah, from here on out the movie is one big claustrophobic nightmare filled with paranoia, anxiety and dread. This group of men, who seem to have a fun camaraderie going on aside from being colleagues, heck, some of them know each other for years, all turn against each other as the situation becomes more dire and it's not certain anymore who is a human and who is a thing. The thing copies every single cell to perfection. This also includes DNA and brain chemistry. Therefore, a thing can mimic someone's personality and behavior perfectly. There would be no telling between the original person and a copied thing. All of this combined with the fact that they are completely isolated from the rest of the world makes this horror in its purest form. People can't seem to stop talking about this movie, even 40 plus years later. They discuss the ending, the order of infection, the way the thing operates, just every single aspect. So it is a bit sad to learn that when this movie came out, people, mostly critics, seemed to hate the shit out of it. They found it repulsive, tasteless, messed up beyond belief, bleak and cynical. Fantasy and sci-fi movies like E.T. came out that summer, and all of them differed so much in tone and story as opposed to The Thing that it might explain the harsh reaction it triggered out of audiences. People were not ready for this. But I'm so happy to see that it was released on home video and TV. This was the start of the major appreciation that The Thing gained. A cult following, you can say. People's opinion made a complete 180 and seemed to love and appreciate the movie for its creativity, strong story pacing, very relatable characters, cinematography and effects. The Thing has some of the most magnificent puppetry, props and animatronics I have ever seen in any movie. Now this next part I want to briefly talk about how I think the order of infection went. I've seen this movie a lot of times and paid close attention to every single thing. Nothing is to say for certain, of course, but this is my interpretation. To understand this, you must be a little bit familiar with the main cast of characters. We have a total of 12 men working at the American base, and they consist of McCready, the pilot, Blair, the senior biologist, Knowles, the cook, Palmer, the assistant mechanic, Childs, the chief mechanic, Dr. Copper, the physician, Norris, the geologist, Bennings, the meteorologist, Clark, the dog handler, Fuchs, the assistant biologist, Gary, the station commander, and last but not least, Windows, the radio operator. Yeah, we got that? Okay, fine. Now, let's talk about the order of infection. So, who of these guys is patient 0, the first to be infected? We can all agree that this is the shadow we see on the wall when the Norwegian dog explores the building. The dog approaches this figure and we cut to black. Okay, who is this shadow from? It's actually none of the main actors, but someone from the production crew. They wanted it to be as ambiguous as possible, like this could be anyone. Although in my humble opinion, the shadow matches but one person the most. Norris. Some say it could be Palmer, but these men have very different postures, and Palmer is not only lankier than Norris, but also has less hair, mainly in the front. This combined with the visible color, I stay with Norris. So if this is true, then Norris is a thing for the majority of the movie, and he infected Palmer soon after off screen. We see Bennings being taken by the malformed two-faced corpse that apparently was still alive, but Bennings' thing was incinerated before he could finish his form. Then what about Blair, the biologist? Well, actually he touched his lips with the tool he used during the autopsy of Doc Thing. Okay, no. This is not when he got infected. I think this was simply a mishap of the actor. I mean, keep in mind, after this scene, Blair not only does the computer simulation and grows anxious, not only does he kill the remaining sled dogs, not only does he destroy all means of transportation and communication, but has a full-blown meltdown in the control room. This man was desperate at this point to give this creature 0 chance of spreading. I think when Blair was locked up in his shed, he was still human. The very next time we see this man, when MacReady checks on him, we see a noose randomly hanging in the middle of the room. Blair doesn't even address it. All he asks, no, pleads, is for them to let him back in the main building. Blair got infected during his stay in the shed, considered not alive, but was fully assimilated before he could commit, hence the news. My theory is that Blair was infected by Palmer, because Palmer is most absent during the middle part of the movie, from the lockup of Blair to the blood test where he reveals himself. Because of this, Palmer is the one doing the most damage to my idea. He's the one who sabotaged the blood samples, he is the one who killed Fuchs, because Fuchs caught him off guard and assimilating would take too long, when Palmer was on his way to Blair. And he's the one who infected Blair, I am certain of it. So that leaves us with Norris being patient 0, Palmer got it from Norris, Blair got it from Palmer, Bennings got it from Two-Face, Windows got it from Palmer but was incinerated right away, Gary got it from Blair, Knowles just disappears in the end, we can assume Blair got him, and the ones who die human are Clark, Fuchs and Dr. Copper. And the only ones who are still alive in the end are MacReady and Childs. Ah yes, yep, we're gonna talk about it. We can't talk about the thing without talking about the infamous ending scene. You all know the drill. MacReady just fought and killed Blair thing and suddenly Childs appears, asking him if he's alone. People point out the not visible breath of Childs, drinking gasoline and the missing glimmer in his eyes and whatnot, but all those hold no water. Having no breath as a thing is, well, not a thing. Bennings was mid-transformation and when he roared, there is a very visible breath there. The bottle of gasoline also seems very unlikely. MacReady clearly was about to take a sip before Childs approached him. And even so, gasoline would have the same reaction out of a thing as out of a human. As Blair stated in the autopsies, the thing copies all cells perfectly. Therefore, the organs Blair finds in the corpse are so eerily human-like and function as such. Childs still has a humanish digestive system in either state. Therefore, a reaction would still take place if he drank gasoline. So that ain't it. What about the glimmer in his eyes missing? Now that's also false. This was only done during the blood test scene, where Palmer is the only one without glimmer in his eyes. Not in every shot, but the very last time we see Palmer before he breaks form. To me, the answer is way more simple than this reaching. The fact that Childs, the most suspicious and alert character in this movie, is casually taking a sip from the bottle of MacReady is telling me enough. Sharing food and drinks were absolutely banned because infection can take place with just one cell. If Childs was human here, he would never, ever accept the bottle. Plain and simple. Yes, okay, they are at their low point, practically all hope for rescue is nihil, and all they can do is wait here in the cold, freezing to death. So why would they even care at this point? Well, I don't know, I think anything is better than getting assimilated by the thing. But you know, the fact that this movie sparks so much debating and discussion decades after it is released proves to me it is doing something remarkable. The ending, such as a lot of other stuff, is purposely left ambiguous and open. They wanted for people to talk about it, to think about it. That was the entire goal. And I know there is a lot of other media that spawned from this movie, such as the prequel from 2011, video games and comic books, in where the ending might have been revealed. But I am talking purely about the 1982 flick here. Now on this channel, in a previous Halloween special, I have talked about the scene in this movie before. A scene that left me so utterly anxious and stressed like no other movie has managed to do so before or after. That is of course the dog scene. The thing is filled with a lot of disturbing imagery and scenes, sure, but the dog scene is... well, it's dogs getting killed in a horrible way. It's no secret that I love dogs. I was raised with them all my life and I was there when the Labradors of my mother were born. Some of them I even helped being brought into the world. Watching anything related to dogs suffering, even off screen, turns my stomach upside down. Thanks, John Wick. So the scene where the four huskies are witnessing the dog thing break apart and some of them even try to bite their way out of the kennel, it triggered a serious reaction out of me. I can't remember how old I was first time viewing, but that might be because it was very long ago. Luckily 2 of the dogs escape when Clark opens the kennel, but the other 2... they are having a rough day. One is in the corner somewhere, barely recognizable, and the other is tangled in tentacles, shot dead by someone on the team. Poor Clark even tries to stop the shooting and save his dogs, but honey, I know, it sucks balls, but those dogs are beyond saving. A bullet would be the merciful way out anyways. Yeah, I think we are done here. The thing is absolutely not for everybody. Next to The Fly and The Blob, this is some of the most excruciating body horror out there. You need a strong stomach for this one. Once you can get past that, just take a look at the props, the animatronics and the effects. It's crazy. I don't even want to know how they did the Norris thing. It was a nightmare to make that effect work, with the head getting loose and all. And when the malformed two-faced corpse was revealed, the actors had no idea what it would look like, so their reactions are partially genuine. And what else can I say? It's a classic, made by people who understand horror and pacing a good story. If you can bear it, give it a watch. Or give it a watch again. Most of you have already seen it, I think. Happy Halloween!